With a chassis that spanned 4 seasons of use, it can be easy to forget that it all had to start somewhere. In the case of the Lotus 49, the incredible journey began here at Circuit Zandvoort. And it began in a fashion very fitting for such a legendary and dominant vehicle. Jim Clark took the car to victory lane in its very first outing. But while the idolized driver made it look like a cakewalk in his hands, that does not mean that today's drivers will have the same experience. We'll find out who can handle this beast of a car as we get ready to watch round 8 of the Lotus 49 World Cup. And you'll see it all live here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Sean Ambrose. Behind the scenes is our director, the Dr. Amjad Yaman, and he's using cameras provided by Ducky Beard. Sean, the Zandvoort that Clark won at is very different from the one we're racing at today. Tell us a little bit about the track.
Oh, Joe, I would love to. You know, the first Formula One race was actually back in 1955 on this circuit. They built the track just after World War II, right here near the dunes of the North Sea, this little resort town of Zandvoort. What an awesome facility. Now, in 2001, they made some changes. They redesigned this circuit to the current configuration, which is 4.3 kilometers, 2.6 miles around this circuit, 13 turns, Joe. Tough track to pass, awful fast here. Something to watch out for is where the sand can drag up onto the pavement here today. And boy, track temperatures also may play a big part into this race today. But the best way to find out what this track is really like is to hop on board the GSRC Lotus 49 and take a trip around Circuit Park Zandvoort.
Welcome back, and our apologies for the technical issues. Looks like we won't get you a lap guide today, but we can get you updated on the points. So why don't we take a look at the Drivers' Championship real quick here. Mick Claridge still leading the way, a whole 24 points ahead. He is absolutely dominating this season here at the start of 2018. Michel Dudignon is giving it his best, but hasn't been able to show up at every race, and that's put him on the back foot. Enzo Canta as well has been having a pretty good season for a rookie, has certainly impressed, and we hope that he sticks around to see if he could give a little more hassle to the Frenchman and the Brit. Ove Trangarate still up there in the top 5, as has almost become customary for the Norwegian. Tends to have good pace, just snags wins here and there. And then Billy Bob Wright as well, using his consistency to stay there in the top 5. Sean, there's also a Constructors' Championship. What's that look like?
Joe, there certainly is, and there's the UK on the back of Mick Claridge there, 66 points to the good right now. First place, second place, the US. Billy Bob Wright in that mix. Bruce Nelson, Morrison, and Kemp, 16 points behind. They still have a chance to make a run at this. A little tougher, it's going to be Finland back there, 25 points back. They're going to need wins, plain and simple. Koivisto, Kajanin, those guys are going to need to get on the stick and get a few wins here. France in a really tight battle, and really the final 3, Finland, France, and Italy, all knotted up there pretty close, Joe. There's still quite a battle here going on in the top 5.
We're waiting for the first of the qualifying laps to come in, but while we wait for that, why don't we bring in our new pit reporter here today, Johan van der Belt. The Fan Belt is joining us down there. And Johan, I'm glad that we have you here because you're a native Netherlander, so you have a little bit of intimate knowledge with this track.
Yeah, it's not a better fit possible. Yeah, exactly. I've visited this track several times, and it's a beautiful track. Sean originally told at the beginning of the broadcast already a little bit about it, how it was first a Formula One track. Since that moment, since it was opened originally, the layout has changed quite a bit. They took a part of the outer edge of the circuit off it. and now you have a whole new infield section. So it's quite difficult to overtake now because you have a lot of quick corners. Difficult to really set yourself up over it, but yeah, it's a really nice circuit to visit and also to race at.
Getting the first of our drivers, including Enzo Canta, coming around to put the first of the timed laps in as they cross the line. He's behind Trangarade, he's behind Kemp. Ooh, a number of drivers are going to be faster than Canta on this first go. There you can see Ove still temporarily in first. Let's see if he can hold it. Philip Spencer, not a name I'm used to seeing. Sean, he's up there on the front row here in the first set of laps right now.
He is, and a bit of a surprise. And what I can tell you from the practice times, Joe, is a 134.6 is bad fast. Now, it's only about 83 degrees on track. That was the practice session I was in just a little while ago, but it was clear and 85 outside. So the overall condition, it's partly cloudy and 65 now. A little bit more speed, so we're seeing these 134s starting to come in. Mick Claridge just came across with a 134.7, still only good enough for second on this grid provisionally. Let's see if they can lay down some faster ones second time around. Everybody's got their first lap in now, Joe.
Wow, the Norwegian seems to like Zandvoort, so we'll see how it plays out as they come around for that second lap. There we see Zoko currently sitting in 8th on the timing sheet. You got a few names that seem to be new this week. Stefan Lemaire, don't recognize him. Ray Smith is a bit of a new name for me. So a few guys showing up that we don't regularly see, which is usually a club of drivers that come out and all race together week after week. So that's why we're making note of the names that are unfamiliar to us.
Yeah, another one I'm seeing is Paul Foster, Club Asia, here today. Right now qualified provisionally here 10th. And a good field today, 20 drivers here at this track. Probably not one of the more popular tracks on the iRacing list of tracks, would you say, Joe?
It doesn't usually see as good of participation. As it was mentioned by Johan, it's very tough to pass here, and that doesn't usually draw drivers as well. As we watch Michel Dudignan, who's got himself into second in qualifying at the moment. He comes through Hans Erst, now up to Kumho. Just 2 more corners to go. This one in particular, Sean, Lyondike, that he's coming around right now. Oh, so important, but very on edge for these cars.
It really is. It's a tricky balance of trying to lay the power down and maybe even just trail braking it a little bit to just keep it on track, but awful tough. This whole track, you find yourself struggling to get the power down out of some of these turns, and you can't keep it down for long because guess what? The next turn's coming up real quick. Not an incredibly long circuit, only just over 2.5 miles for these 13 turns. So there in itself provides a lot of the action and difficulty.
Speaking of incredible, neither Dudignan or Claridge has overtaken Trangarade on the pole yet. We have got a fight on our hands. And in fact, look at the gap there, Sean.
Yeah. 6 1,000ths of a second, Joe, between Dudignan and Trangarade. That's what separates your front row.
Goodness. Oh, this is going to be a fun one, no doubt. Just a few more coming around. Ben Zoko is just about to complete his second lap. He is still in 8th, hasn't changed since we last looked at him. So as he crosses the line, the 136.2 stays the same. He does not improve. 8th is the best we're going to see out of the Australian.
Yeah, very, very impressive times here. In fact, that last practice session that I alluded to a moment ago, there was only one driver with a 134 in there. Now we've got our front row and looks like part of our second row in the 134 range.
I believe our last driver to put his second lap in is Luke Gomez. He's coming up the Lyondike right now. Midwest driver. Completes his second lap, gives a lot of width to the outside there, trying to play it safe, which to me says he's not going to improve on that 137.3, and he doesn't. So that solidifies our order. Let's go through the grid here today for round 8 of the Lotus 49 World Championship. Ove Trangarade going to start on the pole with Michel Dudignan rounding out that front row. Mick Claridge going to start no better than 3rd, unusual for him. Usually he is up on the pole for these races. Philip Spencer, newcomer, showing his cards early. starts 4th. William Wright, Billy Bob, he'll start in 5th today with Enzo Canta starting in 6th. Then we've got Neil Kemp starting in P7. He's flanked by Ben Zocco in 8th. Paul Foster starts in 9th, and rounding out our top 10, Sean, is Uwe Jacobsen.
All right, Joe, and then we're going to go down to 11th. It's going to be Tommy Unhola. Luke Gomez, 12th. 13th, going to go to Richard Morin. Hideki Koivitso, 14th today. 15th, going to go to Roy Cunningham. Andrew Eng in 16th. Raymond Smith, 17th. Stefan Lemaire in 18th. 19th, Randy Huff. And Don, tell me something good, is going to start 20th with no qualifying time today.
And just to show you how unusual it is having Ove on the pole, even Michel Dudignan said, didn't see that one coming. So he surprised the Frenchman even. All right, as we watch them grid up, they're looking down the straight. And from an angle that Dale and Steve can see nicely from their position in the tunnel. Many rows, 10 rows of Lotus 49s ready to go racing today.
You can see him right there in that shot.
Yeah. There we got a glance of them there in the background. A little bit of an Easter egg for those of you who haven't explored iRacing that much. Definitely zoom around a few of the tracks and you'll find them at each of them, apparently. So we wait for the rest of the cars to get gridded up. Actually, all of them seem to be gridded up now. So we've got engines revving, waiting for the green flag. Green is out. Ove gets himself a very good start.
Trouble at the back of the grid with one car not moving. We'll get back to it.
Looks to be Andrew Eng, but a side-by-side battle in the second between Claridge. Oh, and Michel Dudignan gets to the inside through Tarzan, but he's denied by the momentum of Ove Tranqueray. Has to slip back in a second where he started. Now into Hugenholtz they go. Everybody single file into here. Over to side-by-side farther back. Koivisto and Roy Cunningham sorting themselves out, but otherwise a mostly clean start other than the car having problems off the line there.
Yeah, and I think it was some sort of a technical issue there with Andrew Eng, but unfortunately his car destroyed now, and in the pits, Don Good and Stefan Lemaire both got a piece of him as they were trying to get around.
Sad to see. They're already hitting Renault out of Masters there. And then coming up to Vodafone, the back-to-back hairpins. Not a series of corners that this car likes, as a little bit of a peek from Michel Dudignan on our leader, Ove Tranqueray. He's eager to get by early, does not want to be held up by the Norwegian. Breaking down into Hans Erst, one of the few places that you can attempt an overtake into here.
Joe, I think we're going to find out as this race goes on. Qualifying is so important here because as you look through the field, they've gone line of stern all the way, nose to tail.
Ooh, Canta having problems there through Kumho, and that puts him under threat as Billy Bob Wright takes a look to the inside of Lyondike, but there's just not enough room for too wide. He has to back out.
Yeah, wise move there by Billy Bob. Way too early to get locked up wheel to wheel with Canta.
Right on board with Billy Bob. Up ahead, we saw a little bit of a look from Michel Dudignan, but it wasn't close enough to dive to the inside of Tranqueray down into Tarzan, so they go back to single file through Gerlach and down into Hugenholtz one more time. A lot of interesting, unique corners throughout this track, Sean. There a lot of banking, which you don't tend to see in road courses anymore.
Yeah, and a couple of carousels even.
I don't know if you caught that, Sean, but on screen, Mick Claridge sliding the car, almost nosing it into the gearbox of Dudignan through Scheivlach. Then they hit Renault one more time. All three of them live to fight another day, and it is a close fight still between the podium.
You know, I followed Mick a bit in practice, Joe, and he's very good at sliding this car. He excels at sliding the Lotus 49.
One of the few cars where you can really do that and still be fast, although I wouldn't recommend it, as they hit Ernst one more time. Then they're going to come up to Kumho. Dudignan backs it off a bit, recollects himself, tries to see if he can find a better opportunity later down the line as he sits just about 4/10 behind our leader. Let's take a look at that replay. I believe this is of the start.
Yeah, it is, Joe. And Eng just doesn't get started back there all the way at the back of the field. He got hit from behind. And you just see his car. Okay, here we go. You're going to see his car doesn't get moving here. His hands were working the wheel. He was trying to turn, but there was nothing to the wheels.
And this is one of those cars that if you're not used to it, you need the clutch at the start. So I wonder if maybe he just wasn't expecting that he'd need that, just hit first gear, and was surprised to find that it didn't go into place.
Boy, Dudignon just all over Trent Grade right now.
Also have a battle for 7th. Neil Kemp dealing with Ben Zoko. Zoko had a good race a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, and he's off to a good start here. He's been awful competitive here with Kemp since the green flag dropped, taking a couple looks inside and then backed out of it. I think he's just kind of measuring them up as long as Kent and Spencer stay close up there in front.
Yeah, right now just keeping the threat on. Just ahead of him, he does have to think about opportunities. Oh, a battle for the lead. Dudignon having a go down into Hans Erst and just cannot squeeze by. Once again, demonstrating the difficulties of trying to overtake here around Zandvoort, and you can see how much this has allowed Mick Claridge to close up on the two of them.
Yeah, and Mick, I got to be honest with you, I think Mick might even be a little bit held up right now. He is really better in several of these turns, and he's having to be very patient here, Joe.
Down into Tarzan yet again. All three line astern. Trengray, Dudignon, Claridge for your podium. Thinking I'm seeing a car slip down the order. Oh, and it's Unhola. Oh my goodness, he is on his lid. This kicked off with Tommy.
Yeah.
Coming through Lyondike, Sean. Talk us through the replay.
Coming right there on the exit of Lyondike, he's just going to get out a little bit too far to the left here. And when he does, he clips a little bit of that dirt and grass, and it slides him all the way across the track in front of traffic, right there at the entrance of pit lane, Joe. And that's going to end his race.
Want to be one of the cases as we see Morin come in for a pit in an unrelated incident. One of the cases where we're glad that it's sim racing and nobody is hurt. I'm seeing if what's happened with Morin. Looks like he's come in and out. Johan, did you see anything what happened with Richard? Or I'm sorry. Meanwhile, we've got to go to an incident with Ho and Good. This is going through Shivlock.
More trouble for Don Good.
Get back to the pits in a second here. Oh, and that was that Good that started spinning it in front of?
Yeah, it was Randy Huff that spins. Huff spins by himself, and Don Good, unfortunately, wrong place, wrong time, Joe. Watch what happens here. Car comes back across and into Good. And that's the second time Good gets collected in this race, minding his own business, Joe.
Well, and he made a good effort to try and avoid it as he looked to the outside, but that car snapped back around in a fraction of a second. Meanwhile, if we can get to Johan, Richard Morin was in and out. Did you see anything? Did he take tires or anything? Or what happened with him?
Yeah, he came in the pits and he had a really short pit stop, just 1 or 2 seconds. Didn't take tires, but he immediately went out. He's back on the track and turning. Everything seems fine as we speak.
So mystery stop from Richard Morin. Thankfully able to get the number 17 out and competitive once again. So a number of incidents here in the early stages of this race. Oh, Michel Dudignon. What happened to Michel? Let's look at the replays off to the side of the track.
This is just a mistake on Michel's behalf, I think. Well, no.
Oh, no.
Oh, I take that back. It was Mick Claridge. Comes through. It looked maybe a little bit too hot.
You know what? I think he caught a little bit of the grass on the outside, or maybe it was the inside. No, it was the inside of the corner. You're going to see it here as we ride on board. Clips it once and then twice, and that just takes away the control. Oh, and that was combined from that angle. We saw that Dudignon did indeed make a mistake and catch the outside of the grass on the entry there.
This will be a better view from above right here, Joe. Both cars having trouble through that sector, but it's Claridge that makes the contact.
Boy, before you were wanting that magical shot of a car disappearing. I think this is one better for you, Sean, because how often do we see either of Claridge or Dudignon make a mistake, let alone both of them making a mistake at the same time?
Amazing. Honestly, we'll have to remember this race because, like you just said, that's not going to happen very often. Both have recovered.
Indeed, I see that Claridge still holding on to second. Where did Michel slip down to, actually?
Well, slipped down to the pits, Joe, unfortunately. He's Dudignon in his box.
Oh, well, hopefully he can get it back out. We'll go to Johan if he comes back out on track. Meanwhile, Philip Spencer and Mick Claridge, Philip Spencer and Kanta in a battle. This is for P3. So the final podium position, and Billy Bob White slips it just outside of the barriers.
Man, he had a run at Kanta and just couldn't check it up in time, Joe.
Thankfully, he didn't hit anything, I think. He just locked him up, trying to keep out of the gearbox of the Italian. Here we're going to see it from on board the Floridian. Yep, just got scared off the track.
Boy, and that was costly to Billy Bob. That drops him back to 7th. Now he's under threat from Uwe Jacobsen, Joe.
And that does not take away the threat from Kanta on Philip Spencer for that P3. In a minute, we'll try and send it down to the pits because it sounds like we've got Tommy Unhola ready to talk to Johan. But in the meantime, let's stay on this battle, looking to the inside. It's Enzo Kanta diving it into Tarzan. Can he make it stick? The banking keeps the car in place. Put Enzo Kanta into P3. And in the meantime, it sounds like Tommy Unhola has caught up with Johan van Belt to talk to him about what happened out on track.
Hey, Tommy, you were having a great battle at the end of P10, but everything went wrong in the end. Tell us what happened.
Yeah, hi. It was great battle, it looked like that, but I had it was my first race on this track, and the setup was pretty good, but I could not turn it to last corner. And got more understeer than I thought, and just went wide, and I have saved through few of them, but it was so cold temperature that I think we had so much grip that it was different.
Yeah, it's a shame because it was a hard hit. Was the mechanics said immediately like this race is over, this car cannot be repaired anymore?
Yeah, he said that, and it was done, and front end missing, and wheels was on side of cockpit, and all is lost, I think. They are repairing it, but it's 15 more minutes, and I don't think I'm going to take it to track at excuse me, as it might be slippery, and I don't want to ruin it for everyone.
Understandable. Well, it's a shame to see you already in the pits like this. I hope to see you again next week. Better luck then.
Yeah, I hope so. I'm gonna do debut on 79 next week at Nordschleife. So I think I'm going to drive this too, but it's gonna take lots of practice, so I'm gonna see. But see you at broadcast. I'm gonna drive one at least anyway.
Very good. We'll see you there then. Thank you, Tommy. Back to you, Joe.
Thank you. Have fun.
That was Tommy Unhola, who was unfortunately DNF'd. On screen, we're watching Philip Spencer try to regain ground on Enzo Kanta, but we did see a good battle between Koivisto, Cunningham, and Gomez for a moment. That was down for P10 between them. Man, yeah, these vintage drivers, Sean, they're gluttons for punishment. Goes from the 49 at Zandvoort to attempting the 79 at the Nordschleife.
Good luck. Hey, you know what? Koiveto's still having trouble back here, Joe, though. He's now trying to fight off Roy Cunningham, who Cunningham is all over him now. Now Cunningham backs out of it as they got through Vodafone there.
Yeah, just a little wide, I think, through that hairpin, but I don't think the Wild Goose is going to give up that chase easily. Oh, and here he comes once again down in Hans Erst. Sticks his nose in from way back, but I don't think that was a serious attempt.
Fighting hard, though. Trying to get into this top 10. Luke Gomez kind of sprinting away from them right now. He's got to be careful.
Yeah, this is a boon for Gomez for sure, but the Canadian Used to seeing him fight hard for positions, and this is for 11th that he's trying to pry away from the Finn of Koivisto. As they come back to the front stretch, and we're already at halfway through this race now. Lap 9 out of 20, just one more to go to officially hit that halfway mark.
Ove Trengrade. I just, Skavelak there at the apex, slotting it through there, Joe. Mick Claridge trying to close him down. It was 3.5 seconds. He loses a lot of time here.
Watch on board. Watch the hands here as it gets out of him. Oh, steering to the left and a right-hand corner is never a good thing. Beautiful catch on that slide. I never have an easy time entering into that corner, though, Sean. That blind crest and curved braking. Oof.
Yeah, now that, boy, that closes the gap, though. Now it's, 2.7 seconds here, Claridge to Trengrade. Plenty of time left to get it done, Joe.
Are we going to see another win from Mick Claridge? I was unfortunately not able to make it last week, and still haven't had time to go watch the race. Did Mick take another win here in the 49s?
Oh, jeez.
Nobody in the booth can remember, apparently. All right.
Oh, boy.
It's been that long ago.
Yeah.
We'll go look that up. We'll send a stat man to give us.
We'll take care of that. We're on it.
Meanwhile, Philip Spencer still on the tail of Enzo Canta for third place. He may have lost it, but he's not giving it up easily. They have to worry about Neil Kemp behind them as they go through Hugenholtz here for a 10th time. Oh, and we're getting information that Dudagnan won last week. So, cut into his points lead just a little bit. Not today, though. He's certainly going to lose a chunk of points if Claridge is able to bring it home in second.
Yeah, Dudagnan went, in fact, Dudagnan went green to checker in that race, Joe. Led all the laps to be done there last week at Snetterton, the Snetterton 200 circuit.
Surprising that track doesn't put on more passing. We would expect it with the long straights, but I guess it's just some difficult corner entries. So we continue to watch this fight for third between Spencer and Canta. He's slipping away bit by bit. It's almost up to a second between them now, so that number 2 might be safe if he can just bring the car home from here. Meanwhile, farther down the field, if we can go to 11th once again, Cunningham not giving up on Koivisto. They're coming down to Hans Erst one more time. Cunningham closing in, peek into the inside. We've seen this move before, and yet again, doesn't make a serious go at him as we hop on into the nose of the Canadian.
Tell you what, this is a hot battle for 10th place. Gomez, just under a second ahead here, but these two really threatening, but fighting hard.
Ooh, look at this. Great run by Cunningham onto the front stretch. He gets a slipstream even. Not often that you can get that in this car. Ducks to the inside, down into Tarzan. Can the Canadian get it done? He slides into him, turns his own car around, and has to recollect himself in the grass.
He's going to take some damage because of that too, Joe. Comes right back out in front of Stefan Lemaire. Here's the replay. Going to send it.
Yeah, I think this is a simple case of his eyes were bigger than the brake pedal. Just a little bit of damage on the nose for the number 12. He gets back out on track without losing a spot, but he is trying to hold off Stefan Lemaire now. So, as we are now halfway through this race, let's run down your top 10 real quick. Ove Trengrade is your leader, and that gap is closing. Mick Claridge has cut it down to 2.3 seconds now in P2. Behind him, it's a much wider gap, 7 seconds to Enzo Canta, the Italian. He has taken that away recently from Philip Spencer, who now sits in 4th and has not had an answer for him. Then, rounding out your top 5, it's Neil Kemp. He's within touching distance of Spencer, just keeping him honest at this point. What's the back half of the top 10 look like, Sean?
All right, it looks like Ben Zocco up 2 spots, finds himself in 6th, turning some really good laps right now. Could be a threat to get up for this battle here for the podium. And then behind him, you got Billy Bob Wright. down a couple spots. Joe sitting in 7th. Behind him, Uwe Jacobsen up 2 spots. Finds himself in 8th right now. And Paul Foster, who we suspect is somewhat new to the scene. Paul running a solid 9th place, safe and sound right where he started this race. And then in 10th, it's Luke Gomez up a couple spots here and secure in the top 10. Hideki Koivitso starting to catch back up after that little bit of tussle he had there just a moment ago. Seems to be back on pace and now tracking Luke Gomez from 11th.
And we do have 17 cars still running, although Andrew Ang, who is the last car on track, is multiple laps down. At this point, just trying to get himself a little bit of safety rating. Dudagnon, Good, and Unhola are only DNFs. Unhola's still in the pits, hoping that his repairs are good enough to get the car out in a safe enough state that he can get some laps off. But as we watch Philip Spencer, things are starting to spread out here, Sean.
Yeah, Spencer right now really looking to make a charge here at Kanta. I've noticed Kanta at times maybe overdriving that car a little bit. I wonder if desperation maybe starting to set in a little bit, or maybe just nerves, period. Spencer, when you're filling up a mirror, it's tough to forget that. So Spencer would be wise to stay on that pace and get back up just behind him like he was a moment ago.
I'm not sure if it's nerves or just the state of this track, because this place has what I would call error inducers. Just the way that's set up, as we see Philip Spencer get it all kinds of sideways. Neil Kemp as well. Boy, they like to get the tail out up into Scheivlach there. But a number of corners where the entry just tends to produce mistakes.
Yeah, well, Masterbach right here, turn 7, that perfect example of that, Joe.
Yeah,
turn comes.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, it just comes up so quickly, and then you basically it's a 90 to the right there.
Yeah, very sharp apex, and then the exit is curved as well to make it even more difficult for you. So just coming at you from all sides as we watch Neil Kemp work his way through Hans Erst. Now coming up to Koom Ho to complete another lap. Corner where you really have to have a lot of bravery here through Lyondike. We've talked about how hard it is to get onto the power, but he's nice and smooth as he comes across the line yet one more time. We can't stop paying attention to that lead because now 1.3, Sean.
Yeah. Looking at the lap times on screen there, Joe, somebody's in trouble.
Ooh, ouch.
Yeah.
Ouch. Oh, man. Either Trangarade is struggling or Mick Claridge has turned up the wick. We ride on board just looking over the shoulder of the Brit, watching the suspension work up and over into Masters, which you just described before. And you can see how sharp that apex is. So hard to see in these cars, too, as you ride very low.
Joe, in the NFL, we call that hearing footsteps. I think Gove's hearing some footsteps back there.
I didn't think that the grass would make footsteps audible. But anyways, as we watch Mick Claridge continue to chop that time down, it's down to 1 second now. He's got him in the windscreen. And he is probably chomping at the bit inside that cockpit now. But as Bill likes to say, Sean, catching is one thing and passing is another.
Yeah, indeed. You know, another driver that might be catching. Kemp maybe starting to close it back up on Spencer again. Benzoko now in this, I'm sorry, he's fallen off just a bit, but Kemp trying to make a run at Spencer. Spencer trying to make another run at Kanta here. Gets a good exit out of Lyondike and up the straight.
If we could jump a little bit farther down, we got another battle sort of brewing mid-pack. Luke Gomez has Hideki Koivisto gaining hand over fist. He's down to within half a second. Pretty soon, Gomez is going to be shouting, "Dirty pool, old man." We can't watch this for too long because the gap between the leaders is now down to half a second. Boy, Mick Claridge, he is hustling the cars. He gets out of shape through Masters. He is leaving nothing on the table as he tries to run down Trangarade. I'm trying to remember if this is going to be Trangarade's first win of this season. I feel like he may have gotten one already. We're pulling up the stats on that. Let's see. As they work their way through Hans Erst. Trangarade still leading in that almost traditionally liveried Honda machine now. Drivers like to really... Oh, was that a big mistake from Mick Claridge.
Big bobble there for Claridge.
Was this just the loss of traction? It's like the car just didn't go.
He cut it. He cuts it here, Joe. I wonder if he got a slow down penalty.
Cut course maybe on the first apex there for the number 3, and that will hurt you as we come back live. All that work that he put in has been slashed away from half a second to 3 seconds. And we do understand that Ove has not won yet this season. Only Claridge and the Frenchman Dudignon have taken wins this season.
Who won last week, to be clear. Oh, Zoko having trouble here right in front of Billy Bob. Where was that? That was turn 2. Gerlachbach. Gonna stay live with the battle here.
Yeah, that has turned into a battle because of that mistake. So Zoko now looking in his mirrors. Now, thankfully for him, 6th place is not the last place that gives you points anymore in this series. It goes down to 8. So these two are fighting for more than a point at least here. Billy Bob Wright giving quite a bit of room at the exit of Masters.
Zoko's really torturing these tires right now, Joe, and I'm wondering if they're giving up on him maybe just a little bit.
And for our viewers that may think that, you know, these are the hard tires of old, they're not going to last forever. You can't abuse them too hard there, Sean.
No, he can't. It will come at a cost, and it will bite you in the last laps of the race. Right now, Zoko fighting hard to just hang on to his machine.
And you can see Billy Bob Wright starting to threaten as he gets under that gearbox. So the Australian, he's kind of peeking in every corner exit just in case Zoko can't get the power down. Now he's within the slipstream as they hit the front stretch. Billy Bob Wright going to the inside to follow in the tire tracks of Zoko. Zoko with the defensive line down into Tarzan. They're side by side into the corner, trying to go the long way around. Billy Bob Wright hopes to carry the momentum. Wow. Bit of a bob and a weave from Zoko to stay out of him, and the place goes to Billy Bob Wright.
Wow, wow, wow.
Power move.
Yeah, with just under 4 laps to go, Billy Bob Wright throws down that power move. Did he pull it off too soon, though? We'll see if Zoko can get back right up under the exhaust pipes of Billy Bob there and make a move on him.
You know, I think you called it earlier, though. I think the tires of Zoko are a bit shot, so he's going to have to kind of back off maybe to recollect himself, see if he can have a go at Billy Bob a little bit farther down, but he's running out of laps to do it, so he can't wait too long. Those two still stuck together like glue as they come out of the first of the double hairpins and then through the second one. Wow, Zoko is all over him. So what we thought may have been hot tires is certainly not affecting Zoko too much now as they break into Erst. Farther back, we've got another battle brewing with the form of Lemaire and Smith, two newcomers to the series. Down to 3 laps to go. Big mistake from Cunningham ahead of them, and that's going to cut into his lead. So what was a 2-car battle is now a 3-way fight for 12th. The Wild Goose has a chase behind him as well.
Yeah, that really slowed Lemaire down quite a bit, but Smith not able to do anything with that. He had his own trouble back there, and boy, we've got a good 3-car battle, though, and it's all just to get that 12th spot.
Cunningham not having as good of a race as we've seen from him in the past. Oh, lock up from Lemaire coming into Kumho. Cost him some time on the Canadian, but still no passes made. All three cars clearly pushing here in the final laps of this race. Not missing anything up front, still 2.5 seconds between Trangrade and Claridge. And as well behind them, Enzo Canta hold 12 seconds behind the top two, so he is no threat at this point.
Yeah, Canta's still got to protect himself here against giving up this podium spot. Spencer and Kemper right there, Joe.
And as that is happening, Gomez and Koivisto still going at it, down in 10th. Koivisto, the chasing car that we ride on board with right now, breaking into Renault.
But Gomez has been just good enough to keep him in the mirror, Joe, and not sure what Koivisto's going to have to do to get around, but again, it's been all Gomez that's really been responsible for where he's at right now, and Koivisto's going to have to pull something out of a hat here real quick.
We've seen that a lot with this track. It's not necessarily about being fast, but just fast enough. As Gomez has shown, no one able to overtake him in recent times that we've seen. Unfortunately, 10th is not a points-paying position. He's going to need 2 more spots if he wants to put any on the board. Uwe Jacobsen is the last one that's going to get a point this race as it stands right now. Two laps to go now. 1.5 really, as Ove Trangrade comes down. Oh, big slide from Ove down into Hans Erst. And what was 2.5 seconds is now 2 seconds, just like that.
And just when I thought Claridge was letting this thing slip away.
When it's down to 1 second, it was way more than that. So we've got to stay on this battle, because as the white flag comes out, we've got a battle for the lead on our hands.
I'll keep an eye on these other battles back here, Joe.
One more like that, and Trangrade could hand it over to the Brit. He's got to focus now. Again, this will be his first win of the season if he can just bring it home. Down through Hugenholtz. Humzerug now having to modulate the throttle through these S's uphill. Most modern cars are flat out not so in the Lotus 49. And then we've talked about the hard braking into Scheivlach. The cars getting the tail out coming into there. We've seen that many times. Trangrade brings it through Masters. For now, holding off Claridge. He's been able to chop off a few more tenths, but it might be too little too late, that mistake. Oh, and he's pushing too hard as he's way off the apex through Renault. Mick Claridge trying to hustle the car a little bit too much. We saw a bobble from Trangrade there through Vodafone as well, so both drivers trying to squeeze every last drop out of that Ford Cosworth. Now down into Hans Erst one last time. Running out of opportunities. Claridge just a little bit too far back. Still a second behind the Norwegian. All he has to do is get the power down safely out of Leyendyke. Ove Trangrade looking for his first win. Out of the final corner. Across the line, Ove Trangrade takes the win today in round 8. Claridge follows him home in second. Enzo Canta a long ways back to round out our podium.
And he is struggling to hang on to that podium spot. And here we go, right behind him, Spencer Kemp to the line. It's going to be Spencer with the advantage, Joe. We finished 4th, Kemp 5th.
But a disappointment for Billy Bob Wright. Only manages a 6th today. Behind him, Zoko in 7th, and the last point scoring spot goes to Jacobsen.
Gomez and Koivisto still fighting this position, still at stake here for 10th.
Staying on this battle all the way to the line. Gomez leading the way for now, looking to get himself a top 10. One of the, what we believe is the first race that he's done on the broadcast in the 49. Through Leyendyke, Koivisto still giving watch, waiting for a mistake, but none is coming as Gomez is going to take that top 10.
Lemaire and Smith still slugging it out here for 13th. Roy Cunningham going to finish 12th. But here we go up the straight, and it's going to go to Lemaire. Smith 14th.
And behind them, no battles back there. Morin will take 15th, and Huff is too far back to do anything and get better than 16th. Andrew Ang, being a lap down, was 17th and is already done. With that, we're going to go to break. We'll come back with the official results as well as driver interviews. And stick around, because on screen, you'll see all the upcoming races that we have here on GSRC.
They say it's always darkest before the dawn. And in the world of motorsports, those words ring especially true. As is tradition, Daytona greets us as we emerge from our winter hibernation. But this year, we awaken 30 years in the past. This time we celebrate a bygone era as drivers take to the unrefined beasts that are the Audi Quattro and Nissan GTP. A new season is about to dawn. The darkness about to fade. The Major Series and Late Apex Apparel proudly bring you the 2018 Classic Daytona 2.4, an endurance race from the ages, for the ages. Coming to you live, iRacing Live, on February 4th, 2018.
Welcome back to the beach here at Circuit Zandvoort, and we've just finished watching round 8 of the Lotus 49 World Cup. In the end, we've got a new winner this season. Ove Trangarade is the first to win that is not Mick Claridge or Michel Dudignon, adding a third name to the board. Mick Claridge did take home second, which means his championship run is still looking very solid. Enzo Canta finished in third to round out the podium. Philip Spencer tried his hardest to try and get that spot, but in the end, he was outpaced by the Italian. Neil Kemp gets a top 5 today, with Billy Bob Wright taking 6. Benjamin Zocco got P7, with Uwe Jacobsen getting the last point of the day. Paul Foster finishes 9th, and Luke Gomez, in his first time in the Lotus 49 on a broadcast, rounds out our top 10, Sean.
All right, and it's going to be Hideki Koivitso finishing 11th today. Roy Cunningham, he'll finish 12th. 13th, going to go to Stefan Lemaire. Good run by Lemaire there. Picks up 5 spots. Raymond Smith, 14th. 15th, going to go to Richard Morin. Randy Huff in 16th. A trio of Canadians there. Smith, Morin, and Huff. Andrew Eng, 17th. Michel Dudignon. Big trouble for him there. Tangling for victories, and he winds up 18th today. Don, tell me something good. Boy, nothing good happened for him in this race. So right from the start, he'll finish 19th, and 20th going to go to Tommy Unhola today. Tough luck for him early.
Well, we've got some interviews to do. First up is our middleman on the podium, Mick Claridge, who was not able to get the win today, but still good results will help him in the championship. Mick, we saw that Michelle was surprised by Ove getting the pole. Were you surprised by that?
Oh, can you hear me all right?
We got you loud and clear.
Oh, hi guys. Yeah, no. I mean, I haven't seen Uwe in practice all week, so I mean, I know how fast he was at Snetterton last week. So no, he's I don't know. Maybe he's doing some private testing or something. But I didn't expect to get pole. I knew I'd be behind Michelle. Michelle was a good couple of attempts faster than me all week. Well, whenever I saw him, mainly today, really. But yeah, no, Uwe, man, he hoovered us up.
Certainly did. Now, talk to us about the mistake going into Scheivlach where you got into the back of Duden Jan. It doesn't seem to be so much the contact was due to your mistake, but just both of you making a mistake at the same time.
I'd say that was 100% me. I went in miles too fast. I think he hit the grass on the left, and I know Michelle did. But I watched it from Michelle's car, and it was just one of those slides where you get on that grass, but it sort of doesn't affect you. So he would have been going through their normal speed. So no, I was miles too fast, and I lost the rear. And yeah, I couldn't do anything. So yeah, so apologies to him. And the first thing I did was put F3 on because I wanted to see where he was. And if he'd have got behind me, I'd have let him through. Yeah, so apologies to Michelle. Yeah, no, that was all me. That was.
The 49 is sort of known as your car. Is it disappointing for you to not win at the track that got this car's first win?
Oh, you know me, Joe. I don't care. Lose or I want to win everywhere, you know. But no, I mean, Michelle's really picked up the pace this season. He was fast last season. I'm not a fan of these tracks, to be honest with you, this season. Phillip Island, I sort of expect to do a bit better there, but I don't think I'll sort of, you know, be much good anywhere else, really.
All right. Well, always pushing for that P1, Mick Claridge. Thanks for talking to us today.
Cheers, guys.
That was second place finisher Mick Claridge. So let's go one step down to Enzo Canta, who is talking to Sean about his podium today.
Enzo, congratulations on a podium finish, but it was tough hanging on to it there at the end. Tell us about it.
Thank you, guys, but I'm not so happy at all for this result today because I finished third only because Michelle and Mick had some troubles. I look at that replay, so I was so much lucky today to finish in third. And I'm a little bit disappointed because simply today I couldn't find the pace at all. I don't know why. But two days ago, I was more confident, more fast. I did another race, and I was in qualifying about 1/10 behind Mick and in front of Ove. Today, I was completely out of pace, and I wasn't able at all to go faster. I think I don't know what. Probably my brain today doesn't work well, but it was a nice battle with Phil, and it was not so. It was easy to pass him because I did an extremely hard break, but it not so easy to go away because as I told before, I wasn't able to keep the right pace, and I was looking at F3 but the gap was always the same. So congratulations to him and to Neil because Neil is improving so much in these last races. And another podium, but I'm so sorry for what happened at Michelle because he didn't deserve that.
Well, Enzo, it always is a pleasure watching you apply your craft here on the track. And congratulations on another podium. We'll see you next week when we make it back over to the United States at Laguna Seca.
Yeah, the next week probably I will not race because I will be away for work. It's a shame because I like so much Laguna Seca. So I hope to be here, but I'm not sure.
All right. Well, we'll hold a good thought for you and hope you can make it. Until then, we'll see you soon. And guys, a big run for Enzo Canta today. And boy, we've given caught up with Ben Zocco, and we're going to let Johan Vanderbilt talk to him.
Hey, Benjamin. Benjamin, you had, well, it seemed a little bit like a quiet race out there today, but then at the end, you had one of the most exciting battles on track with William. Please tell us your point of view. How was it today?
Hi, guys. You hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you perfectly.
Yeah, good. Yeah, it was a pretty quiet race. And I was kind of glad to see Billy Bob catching me up at the end there, so we could have a bit of fun. But he got past me in one lap, so I was hoping to hold him off for longer. He was always going to be faster than me, but I thought I would be able to hold him off for a while. But it looks like the fastest way around that, what is it, Tarzan, the first corner, is around the outside. So maybe I should have forced him to go down the inside.
Yeah, it was surely a very, very good battle to watch. How was the track today? Because it seemed quite clear, especially in these cars. How slippery was it out there? How difficult was it to drive?
It was pretty good, actually. I think for me at least, the hotter it is, the more competitive I am. This track seems to really bring everyone close together for some reason, which is good. But I struggle a lot with the last, the last three corners. I am no good. And then towards the end of, maybe again with the heat, towards the end of the race, I was getting really bad understeer through those corners, which pretty much made me a sitting duck for Billy Bob at the end there.
I see. Well, you talk about being competitive. Looking at the competition standings at the moment, you seem to be gaining at least on your rivals and maybe even winning a few places. Are you happy with your P7 result?
Yep, happy with that today. Happy to score some points in the races. I've had a little bit of bad luck this season, been taken out of a couple of races, whereas usually I'm the lucky one who's gaining positions when people are having offs. So I'm happy that I can just participate in the series and getting some points for Australia. And I think Yui came in there in 8th as well, so that'll help us in the standings for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you say that warm weather helps you. Hoping for warm weather, I think, next week at Laguna?
Yep, that should be fun. That's a good little track, that one.
Very good. I'll see you then. Thank you, Benjamin.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
That was Ben Zocco, 7th place finisher here today. And up next, it looks like we've caught up with Roy Cunningham, who gets himself a 12th. Not as high as we're used to seeing from Roy. Are you satisfied with that? Did you get everything out of the car that you feel like you could?
Yeah, hey guys. No, I'm not satisfied at all. To be frank, I'm just off the pace here. And I'm not really sure why. I'm not getting a good balance in the setup at this track, and the final corner I'm really struggling to get the power down, and that's a big problem here.
Seemed like for a while you were trying to chase down both Gomez and Koivisto, and then things started to drop back. Do you take anything out of this? Did you learn anything from getting to run behind them?
Well, I've raced with Hideki before. So I'm kind of familiar with his style, and I knew that I was quicker than him everywhere except the one place that matters, so he was getting much better traction off that final corner down the front straight than I was, with the exception of one lap where I tried to make the overtake, and he was really on the brakes much earlier than I was in all the braking zones, so that pass didn't work out, but I was fairly confident about it. And then somehow he managed to get on the brakes much later than he had previously in there, and was in a place I didn't expect when I got there.
Always unfortunate when the passes don't go how you planned, but regardless, at least you brought the car home to the checkered flag. Are you expecting, or should we see you at Laguna Seca in a week?
Yeah, I should be good. I think for the rest of this season. I know, like 2 weeks ago, there was the Daytona 24. I had to take off right after the race after that because we had a couple of Ferraris running in my Avatar team, so I had to go and take care of that. And I should point out, on a personal note, that was actually my girlfriend's 30th birthday that day, and she decided that it was best to celebrate her birthday last week, which is why I wasn't participating in the race last weekend, and let me go racing instead of worrying about her birthday. So I want to say thanks for that. She's a special one, and she's actually agreed to marry me and make me a very happy guy. So
congratulations!
Thank you very much. It's recent news, and but again, that's why I wasn't racing. We went out to celebrate all the things last Friday, and we were getting to bed about 90 minutes before the green flag would have dropped, which is no good. So
well, I think that you have a pretty good excuse for missing a race there. I think most drivers would be happy for you to not be around for those weeks.
Yeah, I didn't mind missing it. I mean, I was, you're always sad to miss one, but I didn't. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to complain too much about that. It's great, and I'm very happy about it. So, but yeah, we should be good. I think I'm good for the rest of the season. I know I've got some other. We've been running like an Avatar. We're doing a bunch of different series, and I'm actually running the Masters series this year for the first time. So interested in that, and we have the first race coming up tomorrow. And then next weekend there's the 12 hours at Bathurst, which we've been getting ready for. So we've got a lot of stuff going on.
Sounds like it. Well, again, congratulations, and can't wait to see you next week.
All right, thanks, guys. Have a good one.
That was Roy Cunningham, 12th place today. Not happy with his results, but obviously happy with how the rest of his life is going, it sounds like, as Roy Cunningham, newly engaged. So with that, we're going to close up today. And of course, we'd like to thank Jack Ulstead and Ben Soko for doing a lot of behind-the-scenes work to organize their private championship within the official iRacing Championship in this car. Also, thanks to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast listed here on your screen. Additional thanks to Eric Ekholm and Casey Lalonde, who provide our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of their great work. Thanks to the team today, Sean, Amjad, Johan, and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com, or you can check out our social media. We're on Twitter at GSR Channel. We're also on Facebook at Global Sim Racing Channel. The next race, we mentioned it. We're going to California, Laguna Seca, Saturday, February 10th at 8:30 a.m. Eastern, a week from now. We also have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. However, until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.